games. No, I don't wanna play no games. No, I don't wanna hear your promises. You do you, and I'll do me. That's just the way it is.
Boom.
Boom.
Boom. Do you know why he's there, Luke?
I don't actually know, but I find it really thoroughly entertaining every time I see his face do it.
Yeah, well, he's not. He's not there by sort of my decision. He was there initially because when we beat Liverpool, like about what feels about 15 years ago now, the Somerville at last minute. It was Somerville, wasn't it? Scored in last
It was
minute.
Somerville, yeah.
And then I got rid of him because I thought this is no longer apparent, because it feels like a lifetime ago. And then, long behold, about 3 or 4 people wouldn't leave me alone with it. And I'm like, well, bring him back. Because I used to have Wilder in there as well, like moaning about Bamford and Forshaw and stuff. But he had to go because it were...
I'll tell you a story about that night. I was meant to be going to Liverpool away, and I had a ticket, and I got a call saying I'd been called in for an operation on one of my knees, and I'd been waiting like the best part of a year, so I had to go and have that done. So I watched that game from an hotel bed on a dodgy app on an iPad actually from my hotel bed, and I was absolutely gutted. I was so happy, but I was gutted that I could not just be there for that moment. I actually gave my ticket to a Brazilian kid who I met in Leeds just randomly one night, who started to turn into a Leeds fan. I met him on the piss in I don't know if you remember the Golazzo bar down near the hospital. Did you ever go in there?
Golazzo? What, the hospital in the centre of town?
Yeah, so the 90s football bar that was opposite the bottom of the hospital.
Yeah, wait, do you go downstairs?
There is a downstairs in there, but it was just So I was just in there pissed one night, and I'd been to a Leeds game, I think, and I just got talking to this Brazilian guy who was in there on his own, and we were playing the next day. That's right, we were playing the next day, and I got him a ticket the next day. I took him to the Leeds game, and he's been a Leeds fan ever since. Literally, I took him to Wales, took him to Cardiff away one day, and I said, "Have you brought your passport?" He says, "Yes." He says, "What time do I need to put my clocks forward?"
Ledge. Did you always get out recruiting fans then, Luke? Or...
I mean, they say they're never more than 5 meters away from a Leeds fan. We're like rats, aren't we? So, but yeah, no, man, that's some good stories with Pedro, to be fair. Still stay in touch with him. He's moved back to Brazil now. He's only over here studying, I think. But still stay in contact with him. And he texts me when the game's on and stuff because they're so many hours behind. So most of the time it's sort of early morning for them for kickoffs, but he'll be texting me throughout the game and stuff like that. It was a start of a beautiful friendship.
Yeah, it's mint, and I don't want to be that guy, but that is what football is about, innit? Or it is to me anyway. Like, I mean, like, because we're ultimately friends through football. I'd have probably never met you in my life. Do you know what I mean? And
that's right.
We're off out next weekend, aren't we, to go watch a rapper in London?
That's right. Looking forward to our first official night out together, Jack. We'll
see how we get on. Probably won't be friends on the way home, to be fair, about it. It'll be like, oh, friends through football, but enemies through music or something. You never know, but
yeah, I'll have to. It depends how far I've got to carry her back to hotel, really.
To be fair, how far? Where are we staying? King's Cross.
I don't know. I don't remember, mate. I know I booked it, but I haven't got a clue.
Because my organisation skills are absolutely whack, Luke. So I've been just like, tried it all out. Or like, oh yes, man, I'm so up for this. Like, still get to.
We'll sort out near at time. I think we are staying central London, but we're going down to Brixton out before gigs. So.
Yeah. It's, to be fair, it's all piece of piss to get around, though, isn't it? Really, in London.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and we'll have a ball wherever we go, won't we?
Yeah, I don't mind. Honestly, I'll go to local boozer me. It don't bother me.
Same.
What's when are we meeting?
Probably
when
just
you came down there, though, genuinely.
Be sometime Saturday afternoon, probably.
Well, we're hoping Saturday, yeah. Saturday's when.
But it's Easter weekend, isn't it, as well? So maybe I'll probably head down Saturday morning, maybe. Central. I can get into London, in about an hour and a half.
Yeah. To be fair, I think our train's 2 hours, 20 minutes or something. It's mint, really.
It's quick from Leeds now. Yeah, honestly, you don't really realise how quickly you can get down to London. And you were saying how cheap it is. I was surprised at that.
Yeah, well, it is at minute. And we looked at other week and it were like same price. But I do put everything off. I'll end up booking it on the same day. But it's 25 quid each way.
Just get it booked.
I know, that's crazy cheap, that though, isn't it? Honestly, taxis cost me like, even from centre of Leeds to my house, I only live 10 minutes out. It can cost me like 20 quid.
Yeah, it's mad. So yeah, just get it booked, mate, while it's that cheap, because there must be a reason. And with it being Easter weekend as well, I make sure you're booking the right weekend as well, by the way.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I've left her in charge of it, so it's probably best I have a look, to be fair, yeah. Timing's not a strong point. She's got many strong points, but that's not one of them. But that's a whole nother story. You'll meet her and find out to some extent. But yes, Luke, we shall talk about Leeds United, which I think is only appropriate.
Yeah.
What did you reckon to the weekend? Obviously, we've got through Borough.
I was surprised, actually, of the reaction from the players given our recent form, Jack. I said we were both on with Joe last night, weren't we? And one of the things that really, really surprised me was I genuinely thought that the players had gone. I thought they weren't getting back that form we'd seen. They weren't getting back that level of commitment we'd seen. We'd grown to adore earlier on in the season. And I was just really, really concerned that was it. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not one of these doom and gloom merchants. I'm usually glass half full. I'm a bit of a resident happy clapper, if you to believe some people. But the reality was that it's very difficult to get out of a rut. And when we hit that rut, I think arguably it was probably after beating Sheffield United and Sunderland. You know, we were on a massive, massive high after winning those 2 games later on. And, you know, there was a couple of wins in there. We beat Millwall at home. But other than that, we've not been playing fantastic. Even against Sunderland and Sheffield United, we didn't play that great, Jack, if we're honest. You know what I mean? We managed to win at the death. I'll get a late goal, but we didn't play the way we'd become accustomed to of Leeds United's this season. So it was really, really frustrating. And I'd almost made my peace with, if we can get top 2, it'll be through nook and crook. However, if by some miracle we can rediscover everything that we've expected from Leeds, and they've given it to us so many times this season, if they can get even close to that form, then we will push on. But I still truly believe that we'll win the league now, because that result the other day, Jack, is absolutely huge. You know, Middlesbrough, they're no donkeys. They're a good side. Matt Carrick, that scum bastard's got them firing. He's got them playing some good stuff. And yeah, to go up there to their place, I mean, we have got a good record up there, but I don't believe in all these records that go into certain grounds, because you ultimately 9 times out of 10 you're playing a completely different team with a completely different manager. You know, it's just an excuse for me, is that. So yeah, I was really, really, really chuffed with the level of commitment that each player showed. And yeah, I mean, Jaggy Bab says there, look, great to see the best of Bam Bam back, and on others as well. I thought we saw the best of Tanaka for some recent weeks as well. So I think he's been looked a little bit leggy. Dan James back to his best, which again we haven't seen for a short while. So yeah, I was really, really chuffed with the performance. I think more than the result necessarily, because I think if we'd have gone there and pumped them 3-4, 5-0 maybe, or 3-4, 5-1 or whatever, would we then be in a situation on a real big high that actually we were going to, we needed to mellow out and just balance and be in the same situation as where we were after the Sheffield United and Sunderland games? I don't know. We've got some young players in that squad as well, so it's just up to Farker now to manage that squad the best he can over 5 more games. And look, if we win those 5 games, we win the league. It's as simple as that, because nobody will catch us. Even if we don't, there's still a great chance.
I've just got to answer this quickly, Luke. I don't know where the Podger is, but it keeps getting put in, and I honestly don't know where the Podger was. So, sorry, gloves are off. I do not know where the Podger is. I might have been in there, but I don't know. But yeah, Luke, just on what you're saying, yeah. To be fair to Sheffield and Sunderland, they're decent sides, aren't they? So we ground that, that was our buzzing with them results, as I'm sure you were. But like you say, I was hoping for then we'd sort of resume normal service then, and we go back to just battering teams or dominating games. But we've not done, have we? That's where the drop-ups come from. And that's kind of what happened to us last year as well, wasn't it? I must say that I've been maintaining that the drop-off has not been what it was last year. we were getting pumped, weren't we? We were getting beat pretty bad. I mean, we got hammered by QPR and stuff, and that hasn't happened. We've been like stuck in some sticky games, picking up draws and stuff. And I'm being sick to death of hearing that everybody else has turned the form round and Sheffield are now. I thought weeks ago we'd all revert back to type and Burnley's goals would dry up because they suddenly started scoring loads of goals and everybody went, oh, Burnley have worked it out and they're just getting loads of goals now. I just thought this is going to go back to not being able to score a goal again. And that I do believe that Burnley will draw a few more games. I'm not sure Sheffield United will lose again, truth be told. I think they'll actually get a reaction now. 2-1 bounces. Really bad. It's not happened to anybody all season at all. The top three has it all season. So I don't know what are your thoughts going into the last five? Do you think we'll win every game? Do you think his form has turned round on that basis, Luke, or do you reckon there's more to?
I think our form certainly has turned round. I don't still think we'll win every game. If I'm being real, I said before Swansea that we would win one. We would draw one, we would lose one, and we would win the rest. So yeah, we've drawn one and we haven't lost one yet. So I still think there's a loss in there somewhere between now and the end of the season. But I think we'll all win the other 4. I do. I think we'll get another 12 points from these remaining 5.
Yeah, for me, the next. I said before when we started slipping up with Swansea and stuff, 9 points out the next 3 games with 3 to go. I just think you have a look at where we're at. So we've got the 3, need 6 more, and then have a look where we're going. Really, once you get 3 games to go to end of the season, they've got to play each other the week after Stoke, can't they? Or 5 days or whatever it is.
Yeah, sorry, Stoke. I said draw 2. I said draw 2, but that because we played Luton since then as well, haven't we? So we drew with Luton, drew with Swansea, didn't we?
Yeah.
And then I said we'd lose one, which was yet to do, and then win the rest. So I still stand by that. I still think we're going to pick up 1 loss between now and the end of the season. It could be any of the games. Do you know what I mean? I just hope it's not on the last day and we need a point to win the league or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you think it'll be sewn up before last game of the season, Luke, or in terms of us going up top 2, or not?
No. I don't know, because I think that a lot depends on where we are come Easter Monday. Because Easter Monday, obviously Burnley play Sheffield United, and that will determine whether or not it's going to go to the last day. Because I honestly don't know. It's for a neutral. It's been a great season. Do you know what I mean? As Leeds fans, I saw a stat earlier, and I know I'm no data analyst or anything like that, and I don't really believe in stats, but we were something like expected goals. We were something like plus 40 odd, and the nearest team below us was Coventry on plus 17 or plus 20 or something like that. So we just it might be even plus 70. I can't remember it. As I say, I don't do stats very well, but yeah, I think for me, mate, I don't even care if we win the league. I just want to be one of those top 2, and if that means Sheffield United beating Burnley or the other way around, I honestly don't care. But will it be so? Not? And I think it is going to. I think the title will go to the last day. I think we'll already know who's promoted by the last day, though.
I would have thought so. I just think there'll be somebody slips, and obviously just hope it's not us. But because the Burnley Sheffield game could really go against us. I actually thought this the other day, and then because we've gone top at league again, I feel less so like that. Actually, because it's all right saying it's in our. I thought we're in our hands on the basis that they'll drop points, not on the basis that they're going to play each other. I never really cared about that. I just thought it is what it is, that we're all going to drop some points. But really, if Sheffield were running away with it and we're in second and Burnley beat Sheffield, because everybody's saying, oh, this game, it depends how that game goes, doesn't it? It could massively go against us. But the idea that they play each other, that means it's in our hands. I've never really understood that unless my maths is well out.
No, we're top of the league. Now
it's fine, but he's been saying that. He was saying that last week, wasn't he? He was saying,
was it?
Oh, yeah, he said it's still in our hands because they play each other. And I thought, well, I mean, my maths is not a strong point. Believe me, I'm sure you can work it out. But I'm not sure how that works. If they, because if we could have been sat in second, as I say, if Sheffield won all the games and then Burnley beat Sheffield and they go above us. Do you know what I mean?
No, I don't understand that. I didn't hear that. I'll be honest with you. I thought it was the commentary was very much around us. It been out of our hands for the first time in
Well, I
long.
thought that's what I meant, but they were saying no because they play each other. It's still in our hands. Even Dallas was saying it before Villa game, and I thought that's wrong. Or unless my maths is well out. But
Yeah,
how
same.
can
No,
it be
I
in
don't
your
know.
hands when you sat third? It doesn't matter if they play each other.
It's impossible because we've still got to pick up more points than them. If we didn't pick up another point, if they didn't pick up another point, each of them to the end of the season and drew with each other, and we didn't pick up a point, that's not in our hands, is it? Do you know what I mean?
We could have picked. I suppose if we picked up maximum points, I don't know. Maybe it should flag my head. If we picked up maximum points out the next 6 games and we've got the first one done, they have to play each other. Maybe however that result goes, I don't know. Maybe it does.
The two of them couldn't get maximum points, I suppose, if everyone got maximum. But
yeah,
the two of those can't get maximum points. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's in our hands, does it? Because if we all got 0 points now to the end of the season, we
won't go up.
We won't go up, yeah. So,
but I think that's why it's in our hands. I don't know. I didn't like the idea of it when it were getting said, and I just thought I'm up for saying it's in our hands on the basis that if we win all our games, I thought we'd go up because I thought they'd drop points. And then, long and behold, it's only taken a few days, which is remarkable, Luke, because I thought we'd have ended up. I didn't know we'd end up top, a few days later. But this Luton breakdown, because I actually started to panic a little bit. I don't know about you, but I just thought we were in a bit of a rut, and I'm hoping this is going to switch us out of it. But I did start to think, are we going to be able to turn it round here? I did start to, and I'm not about because you said before about the Leedsy thing, and I'm not sure. I mean, you actually said that you're not sure how real this thing is.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure how real it is. I know I'll get pelters for that. It's gone a few times.
I think it's probably, I mean, we've a bit of PTSD in it for us all. We've been in this position before. We've knackered it up. We didn't go up through the playoffs last season. It's very recent, you know what I mean? And people have got very selective memory, shall we say? But it's very much part and parcel of being a Leeds fan. I think that we truly believe that we are, we've got some sort of black magic over us, or so, there's some woman in the woods doing like some spells on a Leeds United doll. So it's one of them. I don't really agree with it, but it is a Leedsy thing and a Spurs. There's in the Premier League, it's Spursy not to win, but win trophies and blow it and stuff. But for Leeds, we do seem to self-combust at some stage in a season when something like this is happening. Certainly recent history shows that. Voodoo magic, that was it. Yeah. Hoodoo, you do. But yeah, it's I just don't see it this season. I just think we're just not that performance the other night, Jack, has flip reversed everything that my heart was telling me. My head was telling me. My head was telling me. My heart was telling me we're still going to do it. We're still going to do it. My head was saying, nah, them players cannot turn this around now. We've just seen it too many times, and this group. It's very difficult to get out of the particular rut and a form. It's not necessarily losing because we weren't losing it, but it was the manner we were playing games, Jack. There was nothing. There was no challenges flying in. Rodon didn't look like he wanted to batter someday, But now Ampadu's back at side of him. It just looks like they want it more again. And whether that's Ampadu being back in the squad or whether him being necessarily at the side of Rodon, I'm not sure, but I'm sure you've got your thoughts on that.
Yeah, well, I want to talk to you about Ampadu and Rodon. We spoke briefly on Joe's, but you've been saying, because I got so much shit for this last season when we went on that mint run, and I honestly put it down to Bamford coming back into the side, shoot me, and Rodon and Ampadu being centre backs. I just think it's by far our best partnership at back.
I completely agree. I think it's
by far.
I don't necessarily think either of them are much better at defending than Pascal Struijk. I think Pascal Struijk's got some specific attributes that are much better than both of theirs, certainly aerially. But I just think those two, and even having Darlow in there now as this little Welsh Pythagoras, if you like,
nice.
They just seem to work so well together. And I've been the first to slam Darlow. But he was very, very good the other night. But Ampadu be back in the team, and I just like the captain to be a centre back. I don't know why. I do like it that a captain can see
it's
everything.
old school, that, Luke, but it's right.
Yeah,
it is right. It is an old school idea but I do think that's. And if you're honest as well, you can be, you can say, I know I'm saying it's one that's old school, but there's something about it. The even Virgil van Dijk's of the world and like Tony Adams, I know that's going a bit further back, but Vincent Kompany. If we're talking about proper sides that have gone on and done stuff, it tends to be because there's an idea that you just give it to the best player into like Henry, like Henry with captain for a bit and that. And it just doesn't. I know it's maybe if they're on that level, you get away with it. If Messi's your captain, he just literally leads by example, and everybody just worships him, works around him. But there's something about having that, like, because it's when it gets tough, you need your captain. It's not when you're fucking pelting everybody 7-0, is it? It's when like you shit up against it and you're looking around. You need some gadget, and you can see the whole game, can't they? That's why I think the keeper's too far back. He's not involved in the game enough to be the captain. But there's something about the centre back that it's the core.
Well, they can see everything in front of them. Where a central midfielder is probably my second favourite option because they can see in front and behind them, but they can't change anything that's behind them once it's gone past them. A centre back can see, and he can tell everybody, and you tend to be able to. Your centre backs tend to be a bit harder as well.
You want a bit of hardness, though. Whether again, you can. People don't like that for some reason, but you do want somebody tough, don't you? That can do a bit of both, and somebody that's mint on ball. I mean, I know Roy Keane was a centre midfielder, but his main thing were tough, rough, ready to go, and like put his body on line a bit, wouldn't he? And that's one of the best captains you've ever, you'll ever see. So brilliant on ball. It don't get any sort of respect for how mint he actually was as a central midfielder. It was like Vieira was a better footballer, and he wasn't a better footballer. Roy Keane was, arguably one of the best centre midfielders that's ever been in Premier. He was, though. I've got over it. I hated him at the time. It's just that I actually like him as a pundit, and that I've got over it all. To some extent, I mean, I do not like Man United. Let's not get it twisted. But to some extent, I've got over all. I just think Neville's a goon now. Like, I just don't care anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like, same with Carragher.
Oliver's got it spot on. A captain has to set the tone. A captain has to set the lead by example and set the whole nature without. And no disrespect to Pascal, because I'm not by any stretch of the imagination saying he's a poor footballer or a poor centre back. We just look so much better with Ampadu in the team and Ampadu at the side of Rodon, and that is fact. I think we've kept 21 out of 30 something clean sheets. If you were to read the tweet Johnny Cooper put out or LUFC data put out the other day, since they've been partnered together, I think it was 20 odd out of 30 odd, But yeah, it's by the by. He's back now, and thankfully looking very, very sharp. So he offers a lot more as well, because we're a team that carries the ball and keeps a lot of possession. Jack, I think Ampadu and his range of passing and his vision and his calmness. When Pascal gets on the ball, you do panic a little bit, don't you, when he starts carrying that ball out and his touch isn't as good as passing's not as good. So he's passing out. He's going to have a pass 9 times out of 10 to Joe Rodon or Junior Firpo or whoever else is playing left back. But Ampadu, there's always that question mark. Is it going to be a diagonal over to Dan James? Is he going to look directly over the top to Joel Piroux? Look, he got that assist for Paddy's screamer at Peterborough last season, if you remember. He got one for Ruta last season as well, where he just went route one straight over the top, brought it down, and obviously both Paddy and Ruta both finished their chances really well. But it just gives you that element of questioning, and as an opposition, that makes defending against us that little bit more difficult, and that's what you want.
Yeah, it's meant to have him back. There's something to be said about, like you say, with his calmness and that. And while he's on the ball, it's like he's a better ball player than Pascal, isn't he? Also, when you get into, like, maybe it's 0-0 or you're 1-0 up and you're still looking for a goal. And I don't mean this disrespectful to Troy. I really don't. But it's like get him off the ball. I feel like that. Do you know what I mean? When it's like we need to get moving here. It's like if it's Ampadu and Rodon, even as centre backs, you think there's potential for us to get forward here. But when Pascal's on the ball, you just think, move it on, get somebody else on the ball. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. If we get promoted, Jack, if we got promoted and you ask me which defender I would want to start at centre back in the Premier League out of the three we've got, I know we've got more, but of those three, Pascal Struijk would be my first choice, ironically, because he's built like a centre back in the Premier League, and he's not going to get 30 seconds on the ball and like Ampadu does at this level to spray passes around and stuff like that. You just want a no-nonsense type centre-back for us going into that league, because we are not going to be we're not going to be the big fish in a small pond type situation. We're not going to be the best team. People aren't going to show us as much respect as what they do at this level. So yeah, that sort of explains as to why and who.
And we're probably going to be working from further back. So if Ampadu is centre mid, it can come back in. We're basically going to be starting from that block anyway, aren't we? So he's going to be quite a deep centre midfielder on the basis that we're going to be up against it quite often. So Pascal will be in there as a reinforcement, won't he?
Yeah,
Ampadu can come and get ball off him. Do you know what I mean? It's less of a problem than. To be fair, we're talking about it as though it's a problem. I think Ampadu coming out of the centre mid through injury has been the problem. I'm not trying to blame Pascal for the issues we've had. I just think while Ampadu's not been there, we've lost loads of bite. I actually like Pascal as a gadget. I don't know him, but while he's playing, like, he's honest, he's strong, he's gives 100% all the time. He's not a poor footballer. It's just Ampadu's so much better on the ball. That's all it is. And like you say, when we get to Prem, we'll be on the ball less, and we'll want some meatheads. That's why I used to I couldn't handle all the stick that Cooper got. I know all his Cooperisms and League One Cooper, all this shit all the time, but he was really exactly what we needed. Really strong, we're all about it.
I don't know if you remember when,
though, won't you, Luke? Basically,
absolutely.
For what he gives you.
Yeah. And I don't know if you remember I think it might have even been the season we got relegated. He was out injured around about Christmas time, and then he came back in January, and we were shit around Christmas. We got absolutely pumped, and we came back, and he solidified us, and we almost went on this run where we actually looked like we might be a team that could stay in the division. But it's one of them, innit? Your Liam Coopers, your Ampadu's, and I think the other thing I like about Ampadu is he's a fiery little shit. And he's a bit of a shithouse, and he's that type of player that you would hate to play against. He's one of them players that when you're supporting your team, you hate to see him line up against you, because he's a niggly little shit, and he, like similar to Paddy Bamford, putting Paddy Bamford up top. He's Ampadu's not that old, but he's very, very old-fashioned in this type of football. Yeah, same with Paddy Bamford. He's old man in teams, and he's throwing the ball behind him, and it's just slowing play down. But it's not only just slowing play down; it's frustrating the crowd, and that frustration rubs on the opposition, the players. It's not rocket science. There's no dark. It's a very dark art. But there's no secret to it. Do you know what I mean?
What do you think to like personalities on that, Luke? So I think there's a certain personality to footballers. I think you express yourself within your personality. So if you're a bit, I think it comes out in you, like it accelerates whatever, like if you're meeting somebody for the first time and you put your best foot forward, don't you? I think football does that to players. I think Ampadu will have that in him. Do you know what I mean? It's like in his upbringing. I don't know whether he's got older brothers or whether he's played Sunday League football a lot when he was 16 or something, but it's clear to me that some players haven't done that, and they've always been technically superb, but don't have that edge. Calvin Phillips had that edge, didn't he? And he used to say, I used to be playing out in park with his mates when he won Menaby and smashing into people and just bang up for it. Like, there's certain, I think your personality comes out, and it's hard to change that, which on Ramazani, for instance, with the critics that Farke's been giving Ramazani, is that just Ramazani's personality? What can you really do about it?
Yeah, I think you're right. And look, you look at the season we got promoted. We had Click who did it. We had Alioski who did it. We had Paddy who did it. We had Aylin who did it. We had quite a few of them who would do that, and they would have a certain character about them. I certainly think football has got a lot to answer for in terms of how it's governed, and that these players coming on and doing interviews, they just all sound like robots. You know what they're going to say after a win. You know what they're going to say after a loss. And characters like Paul Gascoigne and that just don't. There's just no such thing anymore. There's no such thing as a Gaza. So, and I think football has got a lot to answer for. Amount of times Gaza would have been fined nowadays for saying what he said or what he did. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think you're right. I do think you're right. But what was the last question? You said something about a particular player.
I can't remember.
No, I can't.
I
I was going somewhere. Yeah, personality. So I don't think this team has got. Oh, sorry, Ramazani. Yeah, Ramazani. Yeah.
Sorry, Dave, yeah.
Now I don't think that's necessarily his character. I think you're right. I think it personally, but he was getting his starts earlier in the season, Jack, and he was playing really, really well. Look, and now he's not fancied over somebody we signed to play left back or right back. So there is certainly something underlying there, or there has been.
Well, I think just in defence of Ramazan, I'm not trying to call him out, Luke. I meant more like, we've got 5 games to go. It's like we look. Farker must be looking around the dressing room for personalities and being like, Bamford, unfortunately, and nobody likes to hear it, although they've actually come around to it past few. I know what you're going to do for me in these last 5 games. You've proved this your whole career. This is exactly what you will give me. Schmidt looks bang up for it. Looks like they've come out the other end of it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I actually trust you to go and do for it. Nonto, you just know is going to give you what he gives you. Do you know what I mean? Can he hang his hat on Ramazani? I don't know if he can.
I don't know if he can hang his hat on him, but I think he can certainly have some confidence in his ability and what he can offer to us for this running. Yeah, absolutely. I think we've seen how good Ramazani can be on his day, but we've also seen how bad he can be. That performance when he came on the other week. In fact, that was against Swansea. He came on and I think he nutmegged 2 players and then just gave the ball away. So he started,
amazing, and then it's shit.
Yeah, and it's almost like he tries too much. And I know Aronson's often guilty of that as well. But I just think that Ramazani's got that. He's just got that little bit of class that actually could see us through and really help us in this running. And I think we will get to see a lot more. Not a lot more. Maybe certainly see some performances and some game time for Ramazani based on the end of the Luton game there.
Yeah, I worry about him a bit, me. I honestly do. I think I know just from playing at a shit level, like the type of player I was, and it's like, I don't know if coaches in reality could have hung their hat on me. I don't know if it meant enough to me at times. And no matter what level you play at, there's always a player that maybe doesn't like. Dan James is a perfect example of somebody there's no way he's better than Ramazani at football, but who's more effective at football? Ramazani. Yeah. I'm better at football than my brother, and I'm nowhere near as good at football as my brother.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm just nowhere near as effective as him. He's far better at football than me. But if we're fucking about, and I don't just mean kick-ups, I'm on about, if we're pissing around in garden or we're 6-a-side or whatever, my brother probably wouldn't shine like I could potentially. I'm not saying shine, just go steady on me here.
I'm coaching against you. Don't be giving me no secrets.
You know what I'm saying, though? Look, you'll have a certain thing that you back yourself in when you're playing football. Do you know what I mean? I know what I've got and I know what I ain't got. I just think
absolutely.
He's looking
Ramazani technically is probably the best footballer we've got. Between him and Nonto, innit? Let's be real.
Technically, he's not even a championship footballer in my mind. You look at him technically and think, God Almighty, you're like, where can you go? But there's a lot more to it than just. But
like you say, there's a piece to the jigsaw in it. And the side before self element and the style of football that we play. It's all right saying, let's do what we did last season and just give it to Rutter or some of them and expect him to do something. That didn't work last season. That's why we're playing this style this season. That's why we're playing very, very different, if you ask me. People will say it's very similar, but if you go and watch the games last season compared to this season, they are chalk and cheese. We fall back into it sometimes when we're struggling and we can't break them down. We do fall back into those traps. But when you actually look at the actual style of football and the expectation, and that for me just tells you why Ramazani hasn't got his minutes, because he might not be that guy that's going to run back 30 yards like Dan James and put a tackle in on the edge of his box and then get up front and you know what I mean? He might not want to be that guy. He might just want a ball to feet and let him just create a bit. And look, complete speculation this, because we don't sit in training with Daniel Farker and the lads, but from what I've seen from Ramazani, he's absolutely worlds apart from almost anybody but Nonto in this team. It's technically giving the ball and hoping he's going to score. But then we're falling back into old habits with the Rutter and with the Somerville that we did last season, which we certainly at this stage we don't want to, Jack.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, ironically, Nonto and Ramazani have had the least minutes out of all the wingers that we have. So, he's looking for something else. Ultimately, I mean, to be fair to Nonto, to be fair to Farker, he's given them all. There's this narrative bowling out as though he's not giving them all minutes. They've all had loads of minutes at certain points in the season. Some of them are going to be unfavoured, aren't they? And I don't think it's the case. I mean, you were awesome on Twitter the other day, Luke, sharing Ramazani thing. Like, what is everybody talking about? And this idea that he's trying to get away from it, and Farker's like, because you said he stood back and actually watched.
He did.
All the players. He was witnessing what they were up to, wasn't he? Like,
absolutely.
Because he's not. He's totally switched on to it, isn't he? He wants to see if there's a baby there, or is anybody sulking? What are we celebrating this? Do you know what I mean? It's
he was literally watching him. I think this is a great point. You'll meet her at weekend as well. Experience over flair, maybe. Farker needs results, not a spectacle. That's a product of where we are and where we want to get to. Look, it's not about winning sexy at the minute. It's about getting points and winning games. And I think when you look at Paddy Bamford coming in rather than Mateo Joseph, it's not about Mateo Joseph's development right now. Who gives a fuck about his development?
Thank you, dude. Thank you. I'm so bored of hearing everybody banging on about how we have to develop play. Like Solomon has to come out the side because we have to develop players that we own. You can't. You're stuck in between two things. It's either because they say the same things. They say all it is getting out of this league, and then they go, "But no, we need to develop these players." No, you just said we need to get out of this league. If we need to get out of this league, you use the players that we have right now. We may very well end up having Solomon anyway. But if it's getting out the league, let's get out the league, and then I'll worry about Joseph's fucking progression. It's just totally. If he's not ready, he can't play. We're not pissing around.
He had his opportunity, Jack, and unfortunately,
he had 10 games to start season.
Yeah, I think it was 7 he started, didn't he? And then he started in the cup as well.
It was all right.
And he was all right, but he wasn't doing what we needed him to do, which was put
the
ball in the back of the net. Yeah. Same with Ramazani. I've seen people state, Jack, that they can't wait to see him leave next season and go back 15 goals for Rennes or fucking some other team in some other foreign league. Do you know what I mean? Like, what type of Leeds fan is it that actually can't wait for a good player to leave and go do well for someone else? I mean, we're talking about a particular type of fan here, and you and I both know who. But actually, life isn't played on an Excel spreadsheet or a football manager game. Real life is about grinding out results like we did the other night. Like bringing Paddy Bamford on, absolute masterstroke. He was putting himself, he was bullying defenders. That's something we've really missed this season. Joseph will no doubt go on to be a fantastic footballer.
I'm probably go to
I think he will. I think he's got the attributes. I think he's got the attributes. I don't want to spend too much time on Joseph this season because I've done enough of it, but I do think he has got attributes to be a very good striker, and he's proven he can do it for the Spanish under-21s, and we know that's a different level compared to the level we're playing at now. However, he does need to do some things better. And look, credit where credit's due. Mateo Joseph was with that squad after that game, and he was celebrating with all of them. Do you know what I mean?
I'm bang up for it, Luke. I'm bang up for him being one of the best players. I love it. It'd be brilliant. I said at the start of the season, I want him to have 10 games, regardless whether he scores a goal. Give him 10 games. Let's see what we've actually got, and the goals will come or whatever. But if they don't. I don't know why, Leeds fans, some Leeds fans tend to bang on about giving players patience, and we have to wait, and we have to. Why? Don't wait for anybody else.
Just go with what works.
Everybody's got a bit of an hard-on for him, and they just can't leave it alone. They can't just go like, well, maybe. He's just not as good as Bamford right now.
No,
is he better than Bamford? Will he have a? I mean, we're also actually been quite rude to Bamford. Bamford's got an England cap. We'll see if Joseph ever plays for Spain. I don't know. I hope he does. I honestly hope he's the world's best striker and he plays for Leeds United for the next 10 years. That's what I hope. But I don't know why.
Right now, he's not.
No, he's just not. He's not better than Bamford. He's just not better than Bamford. There's something to be said. Again, I get so much shit for defending the alleged old guard just because I actually respect him a bit. And I actually think, well, like I've just said, they're looking around dressing room, Farker's looking for some blokes that can actually go out and do a job and get us sent up. And players like Bamford will get you to the Premier League. They just will.
Yeah.
And then Bamford, if we're playing Bamford first game of the season next year in Prem, I will say what is going on.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember, but earlier on in the season when Bamford was injured I think he's had 3 or 4 injuries this season alone, but
it's been terrible this season.
There was one stage where Daniel Farker said, Paddy Bamford will have a key role to play in this squad by the end of this season. And these last 2 games, Jack, he's done both of that. Look, he hasn't scored. Well, he has scored.
He has.
He's made his 200th appearance for the club. Give the guy some fucking respect. Give him some
deserves
respect,
it, man.
I think he's averaged a goal in every 3 games for us, and that's through the Premier League and the Championship.
Top goal scorers. In past sort of, I looked it up last year. He's like, low down in goal scorers. We don't actually have a lot of goal scorers.
No.
But Smith's looked upon, like for instance, Alan Smith. He got about 3 goals, literally like every season. He did one season where he got about 16. He got no goals for us. Do you know what I mean? Literally. But Smith, I know Smith's tarnished, but he was loved at the time. If Bamford lived in a different time at Leeds United, when it wasn't, maybe when social media wasn't so rife and you could just pick on players, which is what happens, isn't it? Players get picked on, and you can't talk openly about them.
No, there's no middle. The problem is there's no liberal middle ground anymore. It's you either love somebody or you hate them. It's as simple as that.
Well, you said that politics other week when you were on.
Yeah, it is because
politics.
You can't have them. You're either right wing or left wing, and you just simply can't have this balanced view that actually Mateo Joseph isn't good enough right now. But I hope he is in the future, and I hope he does really, really well. But right now, all I give a shit about is getting out of this fucking league into the Premier League again.
Yeah,
and if he's part of this. If he's part of this squad or, part of the plans for next season, great. But he'll need to have a fucking good pre-season, or he gets loaned out for some actual minutes next season in the Championship, because we'll be in a position to do that and actually say we'll cherry pick which club he goes to because we want him guaranteed to play this number of minutes, and he'll get those minutes, and hopefully that's when they'll start firing on cylinders. But right now, Jack, these people who are clamouring for this footballer, that's underwhelmed, shall we say? I think based on the pre-season and what the expectations were, it's ludicrous, and it is what it is. Paddy Bamford will play a much more important part to us if he can stay fit up until now and the end of the season. Between now and the end of the season, he will play a huge part. Might not get you many goals, but he will still. You know what he's going to bring you. You know he's going to be making runs. You know he's going to be harassing defenders. You know he's going to be putting himself jumping for every ball, something that Joel Pirou doesn't do. He's going to offer us something very, very different to what Joel Pirou does. And look, I'm for it. I can't wait.
Yeah. Top banana. Yeah. Look, I just want to. I actually wanted to talk to you about this anyway, Luke. Somebody commented saying, Andy Rowe commented saying, "Is Tanaka breaking down emotionally? Can he be trusted for the next 5 years?" I actually thought about this, right? About him breaking down, and I was a little bit, when I saw it, I thought, whoa, is it because he's come out of nowhere, this where he's at? Do you know what I mean? Like, he's been thrust into the heart of darkness, and he cannot have anticipated this level of, it's just impossible for him to have. He's come to an enormous club where, let's be honest, it's either wonderful or it's horrendous in it online. And in general, I actually think we underestimate how much. I'm not on about the YouTube channel. I'm on about everybody, how people speak. I honestly think it transcends through the Leeds fan base to levels where it is underestimated. I think it can set a tone. I think people end up talking too much about stuff rather than just. I think when I was a kid going to games, there are a few people that didn't like Viduka and a few people that didn't like Ian Hart or something. And most people just go, oh, the wet wipes, they're idiots. But these people really gain loads of traction. So that's why you can't just talk honestly about stuff. But I did think about the Tanaka breaking down. What do you actually think of that?
Do you know what? I was similar to you. I thought I did have to sort of take a bit of a breath in and think, well, he's breaking down now. We've still got 5 big fucking games to play. Yeah. But then I sort of took a step back, had a bit of a think about it overnight, and then I was like, do you know what? I really rate that. I rate that he cares. I rate that he cares that much. Emotions not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, it's not a bad thing. Showing emotion is probably a positive thing. And the players around him, we saw Gilavugi consoling him, cuddling him.
Laughing as well, which I thought was laughing. It's a mint dynamic, Max. It's like, come on, lad. He's just losing his shit in. It's like, Gilavugi found it funny. Like,
absolutely.
When your mate's crying and you're boozed up and you get arm around, you're like, come on, lad. What's up with you?
You're like me and you at weekend when you cry. Because Harry Mack took the piss out your jumper or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do rate it. I don't think he's burnt out emotionally. I don't think he's necessarily burnt out. I think it's a real mixture of we've put fucking everything into that game and we needed that result. We needed that type of performance now because he really wants to get promoted. As you say, he's come from second division in Germany, kicking a football around in front of 10, 15,000 people every week, being top dog, and it's been quite easy. It's been a bit of a breeze. This season, he's come over here and he's made a massive, massive impact to this squad. And he's just made a real impact. And I think it was actually the week before at Luton and Swansea. He wasn't used to getting stick from a fan base because he always played well, and he took it quite personally by the sounds of it from the interview. And ultimately that's what's led to him breaking down a bit. And when Oliver says it, I just feel so empty, I don't think he necessarily means energy wise, or I think he means more emotionally. He just let it all out rather than from that one game. Do you know what I mean? Rather than him personally, I think he's basing that based on just a small sort of sample size.
That's overplayed, Luke. His English in superb for a start off, and he's just saying like, I don't actually know. You know, like I honestly think it's like even like a goosebumps moment. It's like, I don't know what I'm feeling right now. It doesn't. I feel weird. Do you know what I mean? I don't think
emotionless, almost not emotionless, but like I don't know how to describe it.
But don't have any. That's what empty is, isn't it? It's like I can't control my emotion right. I don't really understand it. Do you know what I mean? I've never experienced this before. But the empty thing has been like, and then Farke said it in his post match. I thought, here we go. Twitter's going to go berserk saying that he's overworked him and he's got nothing left in tank and all this shit. It's like, that is not what, I don't think that's what he means. I don't think Farke would come out and say that if the bloke doesn't have 20 more minutes in him. Do you know what I mean? If that's him done for the season, just because he just wanted to win the game, and you know how important it was. They must feel the build-up. The build-up must be, can you imagine, like, as a boxer going out, genuinely, and I know it's very different, but the amount of, like, adrenaline and the amount of energy that you must just waste on the basis that you're tight as, you know, you can feel like it's all on this moment now and I have to go out and perform. You must lose so much of yourself. And when you're a really decent footballer, you'll be able to feel it. You'll be able to like, my legs aren't quite as good as they would be if I was just relaxed, and, you know, and unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, you need moments like this in order to become better at dealing with things like this. There's no better than a boxer that's got into 12th round who's been getting in digging deep. You never find that from a fighter that's just gone and wiped everybody out in 2 rounds. And then they get to the 15th fight and somebody's actually up for it, and you end up in a 12-round fight and they don't have the legs for it. You have to be taken to these places to actually become a better footballer. There's a reason why Messi's the most relaxed man in the world, isn't there?
I completely agree. It's tough, mate. It's tough, and we probably don't give these lads enough credit because they are young kids. Like, you know what I mean? I'm 38 now, and I remember seeing the time when I was thinking, God, I'm the same age as him, and he's playing football for Leeds United or for, you know, Newcastle United in the Premier League or whatever, and then now I'm older than them. In fact, all of the Premier League pretty much. So they are young kids, and I think a lot's to be said. You know, there's a lot of weight on these kids' shoulders. Certainly, it's the weight weighs heavy under Leeds. When the people understand and know how passionate we are and what we expect as a fan base, and we expect that type of performance from the other night, Jack. Ultimately, that is what we expect.
I actually thought, to be fair, I can't remember if it was Swansea or Luton, but there was it Luton last?
Played Swansea, then Luton. Yeah.
Yes, Luton was the away, wasn't it? Draw, yeah. I felt in the last 10, 15 minutes of that game that it actually triggered a bit of what we saw at Borough, because I felt as though we were actually, like, Ampadu were flying in, Struik obviously ended up getting injured, but there was some big tackles started to happen. And it doesn't just come down to the tackles, but there were like a tenacity to us. And I thought we've I'm not saying we've woke up to the fact that it's going to get difficult, but it were like maybe this is just going to be horrible for the next 5 or 6 games, and we either become horrible, because we're the best footballing side in the league, aren't we?
Oh, we're comfortably.
We play the best football, even though it's a bit boring. We control games like nobody else in this league does. but we've had that taken away from us for the past few games. I mean, I don't know if we're going to get it back. So we're going to have to win on individual brilliance and nastiness.
Yeah, I think that's sort of. I'm hoping that's set a precedent now, Jack, for the rest of the season. I know I believe it now because I've seen it once, and I've not just seen it once. Actually, that's a bit of a lie. We've seen it the majority of this season, and we haven't seen it probably over the last 5 or 6 games before last night. So that is back for me, and I'm hoping that's the switch is it's flicked now, and we can we can sort of move on and finish the job, because we deserve it ultimately over the course of this season. I think if Burnley or Sheffield United nicked it, we'd probably feel pretty hard done to. Even I'm talking about the league title here, but if they were to both pip us to automatic promotion, that would feel real insultive.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge failure if we don't go up in top 2.
Yeah,
I mean, we actually said the other week that if we don't go up champions, it's a failure, and I still actually believe that. But if we don't go up top 2, I don't really know what's happened. I think, I actually think Farker football sets us up quite well for in the Prem. I think regardless whether we went up through playoffs, I think out of the 3 teams, we would do the best. And I know that's an arrogant thing to say and potentially a bullshit thing to say, but I just think we're in the best position to actually go up and do well in Prem.
Yeah, I think out of any teams that go, I mean, look at the state of the 3 that are coming straight back down. I think we'd have given a much better account of ourselves if we were promoted last season. We're probably going to rely on the 2 teams coming up with us next season being worse than us, plus a couple of teams having an absolute shocker of a season for us to stay up. That's ultimately the golfing class now. But I think we are. I think you're right. I think we're in a much stronger position than probably clubs around us, and that doesn't necessarily just mean financially. It means the players that we've got to our disposal. It means it certainly includes finances, but yeah, I just think we've got that. We're ready. We're owned by the right people. They seem to know what they're doing. I had Kieran Maguire on with us the other day talking about it. I don't know if you managed to watch it.
Yeah,
we've he's met Parag Marat, and he just says, look, these are proper business. They're proper business people, and they know exactly what they're doing. So yeah, it is exciting, but obviously we've got quite a long bridge, not a long bridge, but 5 short bridges to cross before we can confirm that.
Yeah, on my man Parag stepping in. So obviously he now runs the club. Well, he's always run the club, but he now runs the squad and everything. He's the hierarchy over Farker and everything, isn't he? They will do a tremendous job in the Prem, won't they? I honestly think they will. They've not really put much of a foot wrong.
No, and I think no, they haven't, Jack. You're right, and I think the only, even the recruitment has been pretty much spot on. We've sold players when we've had to. We've got good money for the players we've sold as well. We've not got pennies. We got 25-30 million for Somerville, which was good money for a championship player, and we got 40 for Archie and 40 for Rutter, which were both minimum fee release clauses. So, we've not, the people will have inquired about all those players last season, and they would have inquired at much less than those release clauses, and we've stuck to them. With the players we brought in, you look at Outanaka, £3 million. I'm quite excited.
In a bargain, and we've literally not,
signing Joe Rodon permanently.
From last year, we just knew exactly what that was. It's a solid signing, isn't it? They know what they're doing.
Yeah, they absolutely do. I mean, I've got every faith in us being solid enough to stay in the Premier League as a first milestone. I think my first milestone is to stay in that division for a season, maybe 2 seasons, and then we start to build and grow and improve, and who knows where we might be. Look how good Notts Forest and Aston Villa are these days. So that could be us in a few years.
People got a bit raggy with Parag, didn't they, when he said about, I do these contracts in my sleep.
Yeah,
that were a main thing. But that's like what your guy was saying about the bloke's a businessman. The problem is everybody took that in football terms. Why are these players going out on release? I thought you did these contracts. You don't know what he's inherited for a start off. But what he was actually saying was like, in any field, when it comes to money and moving money about, and because players are just assets, they're just like a wealth within the club. They're not like people worry about every single player. For instance, when we didn't go up last season, every single player was for sale. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. No, absolutely. We did so well to keep hold of. Oh yeah. If a Premier League club,
I think they were sending them out, Luke. I honestly do. I think they were going because there were people sniffing around Gruever a bit and stuff. That's not from other clubs. I honestly think that's the club sending players out. Going, what do you reckon? Having a chat with agents, going, do you reckon anybody's actually interested? We need to make some money now, and everybody's replaceable.
Well, I think that was. I think, Jack. I think you're probably right, but I also think that was for damage limitation. I think if the club could have kept hold of Archie Gray, they would have done everything in their strength to keep hold of him. And I think that's probably why we were touting a few players about. If Somerville had gone to Brentford, was it? I think who came in for him at first, or who came in for Somerville and he turned it down. There was rumours anyway that somebody came in for Somerville, and had he gone before that particular deadline, we probably wouldn't have needed to sell Archie Gray, you know. But if they'd have activated his clause, he could have talked to him anyway, you know. But we might have been able to improve his contract or something along those lines. But look, it is what it is, and that's football. And I think if you start taking things like that too seriously, then you're in for giving yourself a hard time. You know, you've just got to try and see the positives and not necessarily the immediate positives, because now, who would have thought that we could have signed Ao Tanaka to come in and do a job just as good? I mean, probably not as good as Archie is, but he's come in and done a sterling job.
League, Luke. We're trying to get out of league, so it doesn't really matter if you sell Gray for the great
for 40 million and then sign Tanaka for 3 million. I mean, that's great
business. Right back. Bogle's a better right back than Archie Gray right now in the Championship.
Yeah,
is Bogle better at football? Does he have a higher ceiling? No chance than Gray. But right now, if the idea is to get out of the Championship, Bogle has been a more effective right back than Gray has.
Did we play 12 million for Bogle? 7 million. 7 million, didn't we?
Yeah.
7 million. So for 10 million quid, we got Bogle and Tanaka, who are two players that can play in both the positions Archie plays, and the 30 million change to balance the books.
Yeah. And arguably the best players in them positions in the league.
Yeah.
Which, with the greatest respect to Gray at right back, I don't think anybody said Gray is the best right back in the league.
No, probably not. But he was fucking class, and I loved Archie.
I love him. Loved him. But if you're gonna get 40 million for a kid at right back, you'd be off your box to not take that as a Championship club that has not gone up this season.
And we didn't have a choice ultimately, Jack. You know, it was his minimum.
This is what the naysayers would say, though, wouldn't it? They'd say, no, we did have a choice, and it's the contract that they've, you know. But Archie Gray signed that contract. That'll have been in his contract. This idea that it's all one way all the time. It's just the chairman pushing the players down, and they go, "I'll tell you what, I'll give you a £40 million release clause because it suits me." That never suits the club. Why would that ever suit the club? They get the minimum fee release clause because they might want to go. So if somebody meets it, they go. The chairman doesn't give a shit what the release clause is. Why would he care? It could be. Release clause could be 150 million. What? It's about how much money do I think I can get for you? And he might, if he wants to go, and the club really wants him, because that's what the player wants. The player goes, right, well, if a club's willing to pay 40 million for me, they clearly want me. It's not the chairman. He doesn't set the release clause. If there's no release clause, he chooses what the release clause is. It's the player that wants the release clause, not the club. So I don't understand how this ends up happening.
Yeah, no, I think you're pretty much spot on. But look, we got good money for him at the end of the day, and he's going on to do decent things. You know, he's been arguably one of their better players when he's had the opportunity down there in North London. But I wish him every success. I mean, he was unbelievable to watch, wasn't he? And look, he's only going to get better. What is he? 18 now, 19, and
that's crazy.
And we've got his younger, better brother still up our sleeve. So.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Might be better at football, but who knows?
Not better in the team.
So, Luke, nearly done an hour, so I simply must get from you. I received, for anybody in the know now, I received a video from Luke a few weeks ago, and I would love to try and understand if anybody can work out, or whether Luke even knows, what is being said within this video, it'd be much appreciated. So we'll run it through a few times. It's only short, but it's very accurate. It's good.
Listen, Jack. Shane's
I look so happy with myself at the end as well.
I swear on my life, dude. We'll go again.
Listen, Jack. Shane's
I have watched that video, dude. I've had it a few weeks, that video. I have watched it. I reckon at least as it's gone on. I reckon when I first got it, I watched it every day and it made me laugh. And then I revisit every now and again. I thought I'll bring it back out at Woodwork for this because I don't know what
I have no idea. I know I said Jack at the start and then I go smiley
listen,
at the
Jack.
end.
But that's what's funny about it, Luke. You go, listen, Jack, you need to hear this. And then we fucking
Listen,
find out what it is.
Shane's
Oh, fuck knows. I haven't got a clue, mate. I have not got a clue.
It's perfect. Absolutely perfect. I presume you were, I don't know, been at gym before that video or...
Yeah, it looked like I just finished in gym, mate. Couldn't get my breath, probably.
Exhausted. Yeah. And then this, Luke, we'll have to work out how to do this, but this has been tremendous. No stats, Baz.
Oh, God, yeah.
We've got this dude here. How did you do this, Luke? Is it the...
Chat. So a lad at work sent me a chat GPT of himself, but like doing his job, and he had like he's an Ipswich fan, so I had an Ipswich football. And he's got cats, so he had a little cat and that. So I did this one and just said, make me. I sent a picture into chat GPT and said, make me into an action figure. I hate tacticals. Leeds United beer. And I think that was it. I think they were the buzzwords I gave it, and it just went mad and just spouted this massive story out about this. I don't know why he's eating fresh flour, but he's. But yeah, it was just a bit of fun for those who know me online and read some of my tweets and that, they'll know I've got a bit of a vendetta against online tacticals. So this was just a bit of fun, really, man, just to lighten the mood.
Tremendous. Born in a pub bathroom during half-time of a Leeds Cup tie, Baz was raised on gravy, Guinness and Gary Kelly compilations. I mean, what an opening that is, dude. For some reason as well, I mean, Gary Kelly's obviously a Leeds legend, but the Gary Kelly compilations really made me laugh because that also, as mint as Gary Kelly was, I'm not sure what the compilations sort of consist of.
No, not many goals.
It's funny, that, man. Yes.
Yeah, good. If you want to go read it, go follow my Twitter, man. It is pretty good because it spins off as well. I've done the next reply to that. It's a deluxe version, and then there's a Netflix series as well underneath that they've listed all the episodes and what happens in the episodes. So clever, man. I had a right bit of fun of that yesterday afternoon after work.
Yeah, it's honestly, I saw it and I was like, it's tremendous. Is that it? Really is. Funny.
No, I think that is actually. I think it's flour. I think I was just baking a cake. Legendary MVG. I think I was just about to go in the kitchen and bake a cake. So yeah, I think that's self-raising. Yeah. Ironically, Oliver, I do miss leg day. I don't really do a lot of legs, so thankfully I only sent the picture of my upper torso in, because otherwise I'd look like a couple of matchsticks as legs.
I mean, them legs look solid enough though. There's plenty of muscle around knee. I thought you had a couple of knee problems as well.
My knees are knackered. Yeah, I'd be on.
I'd be on them muscles though. They're serious supports there.
Yeah, I wish it was real.
But do follow Luke's Twitter. If anybody doesn't, you've lost your marbles. Honestly, if you're on Twitter and you don't follow Luke, you're on the wrong path. Honestly, it's the only reason I go on there. It's piss funny. But yes, Luke. Do you have any? Would you to shout out when are you next live with Orta No Better crew? Or
yeah, they were live last night. We were on with Joe. We'll next probably be live Sunday at some stage for the PARAAG and Coke post-match review. You can join us if you want. If you're about, Jack, if you're not too hungover or whatever.
No, I'd love to, mate. Yeah, whenever.
Yeah, we'll get you on Sunday. If it's me who's on anyway, I'm not sure. I'll double check, but if I'm on, I'll drag you on with us. And then we'll have the usual main pod next week, and we'll be able to report about our. Oh no, we won't. It'll be the week after. We'll be able to report about our weekend away.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. So cheers for coming on, Luke. You're a legend, man.
Pleasure,
Do go
anytime.
follow Orta Know Better on YouTube, and then it's Orta Know Better on Twitter as well, isn't it, Luke?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Your Leeds Untied.
Yes, Leeds _ Untied. That's it. Yeah.
Which, do you know, threw me off when I first met you, video wise, visually met you in the ether. It threw me off for a good 2-3 weeks, I think, before I actually realised. I was like, oh, it says Leeds Untied. I thought it said Leeds United, so for ages. No, like, oh shit, yeah. Because I thought, how's he got like Leeds _ United? I thought that is some serious doing. Is it just a play on the word that, Luke? Or
Yeah, it's exactly that. Just a couple of letters swapped around.
yeah.
I once made a donation. I once made a charity
after this, Luke.
Listen, Jack. Jeez.
You actually try to spell Leeds United after that video? Is that what it was?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I once made a charity donation. It was only like a tenner to somebody who was raising money for something or another, and somebody actually replied to their own tweet saying, "Thank you ever so much, Leeds United, for sponsoring me £7.63 or something like that." And it got about 50,000 retweets or something because they thought Leeds United had actually sponsored it.
Yeah, man. No, that's good stuff.
Funny.
But yeah, so cheers for coming on, Luke. You're a legend,
Pleasure,
man.
bud.
Go follow him, Orta Know Better and Leeds Untied, and don't get confused like I did for many weeks. But take it easy, everybody. I'll be live in about 10 minutes or so, just chatting shit and having a beer. Take it easy, everybody. See you soon in a bit.
Cheers, everyone. Cheers, Jack.
I don't wanna play no games. No, I don't wanna play no games. No, I don't wanna hear your promises. You do you and I'll do me. That's just the way it is.
Boom.